Hi, and welcome to Analytical English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 7th of November. We're on page 23 of the magazine. Today we're going to discuss Spain's wild child.
好，我们的中文标题是狼的孩子。
When you call somebody a wild child, it's actually, I think, an expression from the 60s. It's someone who's a little bit more interested in partying, someone who's like very into living life, someone who maybe will get drunk easily or something. Someone who's a little bit on the edge of social protocol.
哦，所以我们英文里面讲到这个 wild child， 感觉起来好像是他很喜欢到处去玩啊，好，有点像我们中文讲的野孩子。
Yeah, but in this case, we're actually literally talking about a wild child. Although technically, he's not wild or she's not wild. She or he is feral. Do you know what the difference between wild and feral?
Not really.
Wild means they've never ever been tamed or domesticated. Whereas feral means they maybe once were used to being in human company, but now are wild again. So, for instance, pigeons in cities, they're not wild, they're feral. Because we used to raise pigeons. Most pigeons in cities were originally raised. And then when eventually most cities do outlaw pigeons, and so usually the pigeon fanciers set them free and disgust, and then you get a feral pigeon population.
Oh, so how do you spell the word feral?
F-E-R-A-L.
F-E-R-A-L 哈，那也有人念 feral 哈，那这个就像刚刚这个 Angela 老师这样解释哈，曾经是被圈养过，但是后来呢，这个也放了，或者是跑出去了哈。那最好的一个例子就是都市里面的鸽子啊，有的鸽子它可能本来是有人养的，可是后来它决定不回家了，好，那继续在都市里面玩来玩去。
But even the pigeons of the originally taking care of pigeons, the children of those pigeons are still feral rather than wild because their parents were once domesticated. Pigeons as a breed were once domesticated. So they can never be truly wild. Horses, pigeons, any animal that has spent time with human beings.
哦，所以曾经被人圈养过的动物哈，它后来我们就称它为feral， 而不是 wild。wild 就是一直都是野生的那种感觉。
So let's read our article and find out about this wild child, this feral child. Stories of humans befriended by wild animals are nothing new. One of the earliest comes from ancient Rome. According to legend, the twin baby brothers Romulus and Remus were abandoned by their parents and nursed by a female wolf. They founded the city of Rome on the banks of the Tiber River, where the wolf had nursed them. Another example of the wild child myth is Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, which is about a little boy named Mowgli who is cared for by a variety of animals in the jungle. Perhaps the most popular example is the character of Tarzan, who was raised by wild African apes. Of course, all of these stories are fictional, but are there any accounts of a wild child in real life? One such documented story is about Marcos Rodriguez Pantoja. He was abandoned and lost in Spain's Sierra Morena mountains at age 7. He competed with wild boars for berries and root vegetables and lived in a cave with bats and snakes. One day, a mother wolf pushed a piece of meat to him with her nose after feeding her cubs. Then she licked his face, welcoming Pantoja into her family. The boy survived this way until he was found 12 years later, barefoot and half-naked. His only means of communication was by grunting. Pantoja's riveting story is retold in the documentary film Among Wolves, which premiered in 2010. According to Pantoja, his subsequent return to civilization was more frightening than anything he experienced in the wild. Orphanage nuns taught him to eat at a table, but refused to let him sleep on the floor. He was confined to a wheelchair after huge calluses were cut from his feet. Worst of all was the noise, especially traffic and bustling crowds. Pantoja now lives on a meager pension in a little house in Spain, unable to fully reintegrate. At the age of 72, he yearns for his old life as a forest dweller. You can take the wild child out of the forest, but you can't take the forest out of the wild child. This is actually a good example of acclimatization, which is a fancy word for saying getting used to your circumstances. And most of us acclimatize to a kind of the situation we grew up in our childhood. And so when you then change situations, you find things that are different from what you used to really irritating. Some people can change, and some people have a harder time changing.
好，那刚刚这个 Angela 老师刚介绍了一个很好的字哈，这个 acclimatize 或者念 acclimatize 都可以哈，就是它中间那个字是 climate 哈 ，C-L-I-M-A-T 哈，那前面加个 A-C， 所以是 A-C-C-L-I-M-A， 然后呢后面 tize 是动词 T-I-Z-E， 那你可以念 acclimatize 或者是 acclimatize 都可以。那就是适应的意思啊。
So let's read the first sentence of the first paragraph. Stories of humans befriended by wild animals are nothing new. If you befriend something, that means you make friends with them. If you are befriended, it means that thing made friends with you, or that person made friends with you. So it's a direction of who initiated the friendship.
好，所以 befriend 这个字呢，就是你可以把它拆开来啊 ，Let's be friends 啊，所以是交朋友的意思啊。那但是在这里呢，它是被动，换句话说，它是被别人交朋友，也是好像是感觉也是别人啊，或在这里的别人就是 wild animals， 好像是 wild animals 主动来跟你交朋友这种感觉。好，所以他说呢，这个野生动物好来跟人类交朋友这样的故事 are nothing new， 就是这不是什么新鲜事啊，大家我们都听过，没有什么很奇怪的。
You know, on the areas of the internet in which I hang out, those people tend to chat a lot about how humans are so willing to find cute almost any kind of animal, and we'll take them on as our pet or as something that we think is adorable and cute. Even if those things are predators or dangerous to us, we'll be like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's biting my hand. You know, like this. And so this is a story, today's story is about the opposite of like other animals also willing to take us on as friends or like as cute things or something to take care of.
Yeah， 这个网络上面我们会常常看到人类呢很喜欢跟各式各样可爱的动物这个交朋友那包括这些可能是很凶猛的这个predators 这个猎食性的动物，但是像小老虎啊、小狮子啊都很可爱。那网络上我也看过很多，就是这个小时候很可爱的老虎或狮子，慢慢长大了，可是呢，因为从小就养，所以他们跟他们的主人之间感情很好就觉得那个很有趣的一个画面，就是一个人比他还要大的狮子玩在一起可是呢，狮子就把它当就是跟小时候小狮子的时候玩法一样那但是在今天的故事里面正好相反，今天的故事是动物他们大概觉得这个人类很可爱就一些动物来跟人主动来交朋友。
The interesting thing is, of all the stories I've heard about this, usually it's wolves who have taken in people. And that's interesting because one of the earliest animals that we domesticated was the wolf. So it seems like wolves and people are sort of extra willing to form a relationship.
Yeah. 那很有趣的是，我们在网络上看到这种动物跟人交朋友的大部分的情况之下，主动动物跟人交朋友，那个动物大概很多时候都是狼那很有趣的是，狼也是人类最早这个驯养的这个动物因为其实狼跟狗之间有很等于说是很亲密的血缘关系那所以在这个故事里面，我们发现这也是狼，那也许真的是狼跟人之间有某种相通之处那尤其是我们讲到这个狼性这个人这个有些民族会被人讲说这你具有狼性，就是像狼一样的那种个性。
So one of the earliest stories of wolves raising children comes from ancient Rome.
好，所以 one of the 就是其中之一什么东西的其中之一呢？最早的 stories 最早的这种动物跟人主动交朋友的故事呢，是来自于古罗马 ancient 就是很古早的。
According to legend, according to stories, and legend is a story that could possibly be true, but you can't prove it either way. And now it's been told so often and in somewhat exaggerated manner that it's now considered more or less fiction. So according to stories, the twin baby brothers, Romulus and Remus, were abandoned by their parents. So their parents couldn't raise them, and so they put them off in the wilderness to die. This is pretty common in the ancient world and also in the modern world, it turns out. And they were found and nursed by a female wolf, which is also strangely common. There's a lot of stories of this in India, for instance.
好，所以这个印度也有很多这种狼养人类小孩的故事。那我们看到这个地方他讲说 according to legend， 那这个呢，各位就直接把它背起来，就是根据传说或者是 中文的话有常就传说中啊，那个 legend 没有冠词 according to legend 啊，所以那个传说中啊说有一个双胞胎的这个兄弟啊，那 baby 在这后面接 brothers baby brothers 就是这个兄弟啊，很小的兄弟啊，那这两个啊，这个 Romulus 跟这个 Remus 他们呢 were abandoned by 就是被遗弃或者被抛弃 abandon 就是遗弃或抛弃。好，这个船快要沉的时候啊，船长可能说 abandon ship 啊，那就是啊，我们赶快弃船了。那在这里他是被谁弃呢？被他们的父母亲抛弃了。然后呢，他们被 nursed 就是哺育啊，那被谁哺育呢？被一只母狼啊来哺育。
They founded the city of Rome on the banks of the Tiber River. They is Romulus and Remus, and they founded the city of Rome. They didn't find it. They founded it. They began it on the banks of the Tiber River, where the wolf had nursed them.
好，那这个地方要注意，大家不要看它 found 就以为是 find 的过去式。各位注意到这个地方 found 后面还加 ed， 表示这个字它原来的原形动词就是 found， 是建立的意思。所以这一对兄弟他们建立了罗马市啊，就在这个 Tiber River 啊这个河的这个 banks 它的河岸上面，所以罗马市是在这个河岸上面。好，那就在这个地方，他们建立罗马市的地方呢，就是这只狼哺育他们的地方。
And if you go to Rome today, you'll still see lots and lots of tourist stuff where it shows like two kids nursing from a wolf. It's still like a very big story in Rome.
啊，那现在你即使现在你到罗马去，你还会看到很多的这个纪念品上面啊，会有这个一对小兄弟啊，由狼所抚养这样的一个图案啊等等的啊，所以到现在还是一个很受欢迎的一个传说。
Another example of the wild child myth is Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, which you must be familiar with. And this book is about a little boy named Mowgli, or Mowgli, some people pronounce it like that. And this boy is cared for by a variety of animals in the jungle. So he wasn't raised by wolves, he was raised by a bunch of different kinds of animals.
那另外一个例子，什么例子呢？ Another example of 就是一个野生的小孩这样的一个 myth 是这个 Kipling 他所写的这本书啊 The Jungle Book。 那这本书呢说的which is about 他说的是一个小男孩啊，名字叫做 Mowgli 或者是 Mowgli 啊，那 who is cared for 就是 looked after 他被谁照顾，被谁这个抚养呢？被 a variety of 就是各式各样animals 它被各式各样的动物抚养。那 in the jungle 就在丛林里面被各式各样的动物啊，大家感觉起来是共同抚养。
Perhaps the most popular example is the character of Tarzan, who was raised by wild African apes. I've never heard of a real story of this, so I wonder if this is possible.
好，那也许呢大家最熟知最受欢迎的一个例子就是 the character 就是个角色，就是泰山啊，人猿泰山这个角色。那他是被这个非洲的猿就猩猩啊所抚养。那但是这个呢，我们除了泰山这个故事之外，好像没有听说过真正的这样的例子啊，就是人被猿猴或者猩猩所抚养啊，所以这个说不定不知道是有没有这种可能，但至少有这样的一个传说，泰山这个传说。
Of course, all of the stories we just mentioned are fictional. They're not real. But are there any accounts of a wild child in real life? An account is also a word for a story, but an account is a retelling of a true story or of something that happened. It's generally not a fictional account. If it is, we'll say a fictional account. If you just say account, it's generally understood to be true.
好，那这个地方很有趣哈。如果这个 account 通常是所谓的记载啊，那通常记载的是真的事情。好，那如果说不确定是不是真的，或者有可能是假的，那你前面会加一个 fictional 啊 ，a fictional account， 那跟 account 就不一样。所以在这个地方，这个 account 它是指记载啊，真实发生的事情啊的记载。所以他说，当然了，所有我们刚刚讲的这些故事呢，都是 fictional， 都是虚构的。但是到底有没有真的记录哈？说在 in real life， 在现实生活里面，是不是真的有这种所谓的 wild child 这样的一个记载呢
？One such documented story is about Marcos Rodriguez Pantoja. So this is interesting. This sentence is short, but it's very detailed. It says one such story, one story like this. The such there is a formal way of saying this kind of story. So one such documented story, so not just a story, but a story with proof attached to it. It's been documented. You can go back and actually find the names and find that this person lived and find out where they were, etc. So it's a documented story. It's a provable story.
好，所以呢，讲到 one 就是有这么一个 such 就是像前面讲的这种的 documented 就是被记录的那换句话说就是它应该就是真的才叫 documented 就是人家有记录的有记载的这样的一个故事是关于底下这一个西班牙人的名字那这个我简称他的这个 Pantoja 这个西班牙文这个 J 大概是念哈的声音所以 Pantoja 这样的一个人。
He, meaning Pantoja, was abandoned and lost in Spain's Sierra Morena Mountains at age 7. Now, here's an interesting thing about Spanish names. If you call somebody by just their last name, which is the standard in English, you're implying that they're from an unmarried family.
Oh.
We really should be calling him Rodriguez Pantoja through this article because Rodriguez is his father's name. Pantoja is his mother's name. But American, especially newspaper standard format is you take the very last name of all of their names and refer to them by this name. But so this causes a problem for Spanish speakers who live in the United States.
这个很有趣就是这个英文里面呢，如果你要简称一个人的名字的话，你通常是拿最后那个字，就是他的姓直接称姓就好。就像我刚刚我直接就说Pantoja。但是在西班牙文里面呢，如果你只拿他最后一个字称他的话呢，感觉好像他是这个没有什么家庭。
It implies he has a single mother for a mother.
Yeah, 感觉起来好像是单亲的那种感觉所以呢，西班牙文里面其实他会应该像这个名字3个字，那他会拿后面2个字，因为这个什么Rodriguez
It's hard to say Rodriguez Pantoja.
Yeah, 这个是父亲，应该是父亲的姓那这个 Pantoja 应该是母亲的，所以应该是拿最后这2个字来称呼他。那这样子的差异就在美国，因为美国有很多西班牙裔的人所以在美国他们就有的时候会觉得有点奇怪因为他们因为英文的习惯只用最后一个字，那又感觉起来好像是他是这个单亲的所以这个就是一个文化现象，大家了解一下。
So this kid was abandoned and lost in Spain's Sierra Morena Mountains at age 7.
那 he 就是 Marcos 我们直接叫这个 first name
Marcos
更简单那 Marcos 呢，他一样被抛弃，而且他迷失了在这个西班牙的这个山里面那他是7岁就被抛弃，然后迷失在山林里面。
He competed with wild boars, wild pigs, for berries and root vegetables. Wild boars are scary, scary animals. It's amazing that anybody's competing with them because they are mean if they want to be. He also lived in a cave with bats and snakes.
Wow. 所以呢，这个 Marcos 他 competed with 就跟谁争呢？跟野猪wild 是野生的，那这个 boar 其实就是野猪了那争什么东西呢？ You compete with someone for something 就是争的是什么？争的目的用 for 来表示，争的是 berries 那个梅子那个还有呢 root vegetables 就是根茎类的蔬菜同时呢，他住在一个山洞里面，跟什么？跟蝙蝠跟蛇一起住在山洞里面。
So one day, a mother wolf who also lived in that cave, she pushed a piece of meat to him with her nose after feeding her cubs, which is kind of an amazing gift because she didn't have to.
Yeah. 那有一天呢，有一只母狼那怎么样呢 ？Pushed 就推a piece of meat 一块肉 to him 推到他这个面前用他的鼻子 with her nose 用他的鼻子把肉推到他面前。那是怎么样？而且这只母狼是刚刚喂完它的 cubs 就是小狼cub 就是这个小狼小狮子这个小狐狸都可以叫做 cub.
And then she went even further. She licked his face, which essentially was like, yep, welcome to the family.
Yep. 然后呢，他还这个舔他的这个 Marcos 他的这个脸welcoming 就欢迎他 into 欢迎他到进入他的家庭，也就是把他这个收到他的家人，成为他家人了。
So, human beings need protein to survive. So he wouldn't have survived long on berries and root vegetables. But the fact that this mother wolf started to feed him helped him survive. And so he survived this way until he was found not 2, not 5, 12 years later. He lived 12 years. That's from when he was 7 until he was 19. That's a lot. and he was barefoot and half naked.
那他 survive 这个小孩就这样存活下来 ，this way 就是这样子，他存活下来了，一直到他12年之后被发现。他被发现的时候呢，是赤脚 barefoot， 然后呢 half naked 半裸。
His only means of communication was by grunting, so he didn't know really how to talk. He probably learned it because he was 7, but he forgot.
Yeah, means of communication 就是沟通方式，他唯一能沟通的方式就是用 grunting。grunt 本来是指那个 pigs 的那个叫声是很短很低沉的声音，在喉咙里面的声音。
Pantoja's riveting story. If something is riveting, you just can't look away. It's like you're stuck to it with rivets. Do you know what rivets are? They're like little metal grommets that hold things together. You're riveted to the story. And it's retold in the documentary film Among Wolves, which premiered in 2010.
Rivet 就是铆钉，所以它这个把你会让人定住的故事，表示非常吸引人的故事。它的这个非常吸引人的故事呢 ，is retold 就再次被讲述，在这个一部纪录影片documentary film 叫做 Among Wolves。那它是在2010年的时候首映 premiered。
According to Pantoja, his subsequent return to civilization was more frightening than anything he experienced in the wild. It was crazier and weirder for him to change cultures like that.
Yeah, subsequent 就是随后而来的happening after something else. 所以根据他自己的说法呢，他被发现之后，随后他就 return to civilization， 他随后回到了文明呢，这样的一个事情其实是更恐怖、更可怕的 ，frightening, more frightening。比怎么样？比他在丛林里面、在野外所经历过的任何事情还要更恐怖。
Orphanage nuns taught him to eat at a table, but refused to let him sleep on the floor. That must have been so hard.
这个孤儿院的这个修女呢，教他怎么样在桌子上吃东西，这可能已经让他很不习惯了然后呢，但是他们拒绝让他睡在地板上面睡在地上，那他就很不习惯，这跟他以前生活习惯完全不同。
He was confined to a wheelchair after huge calluses were cut from his feet.
Yeah, be confined to 就是被迫这个被受限于他只能在这上面待着所以换句话说，他可能因为走路什么会有问题或者是他这里讲到说他那个脚上那个原来很厚的 huge 那个 calluses 那个茧被从他的脚上剪下来，哇，那个一定很痛苦。那他没有剪的那走路可能反正都出现问题，他只能坐轮椅的意思。
I bet that they just wanted him to wear shoes.
Yeah, 他们可能就跟你要穿鞋子你是人，但他不穿鞋已经很久了，而且好不容易练出来那厚厚的茧，你还把它剪掉。
Yeah. Worst of all was the noise. I can only imagine, especially traffic and bustling crowds.
那他说最糟糕的是那个 noise， 那个噪音尤其是这个车辆的声音 traffic 交通的声音，还有 bustling 就是很熙攘的人群，这让他很受不了，因为森林里面没有这个东西。
Pantoja now lives on a meager pension, a tiny little stipend, in a little house in Spain, unable to fully reintegrate.
那 pension 就是一个养老金stipend 也是一个养老金stipend stipend。那所以呢，他现在呢，他怎么过活呢？lives on 靠什么过活呢 ？meager 就是量很少的微薄的 pension 来过日子，在一个西班牙的小房子里面那到现在还没有办法 fully reintegrate， 没有办法完全的再度融入社会的意思。
At the age of 72, he yearns for his old life as a forest dweller. Although, he's been living in civilization for about 50 years now. You wonder why he didn't try to return.
Yeah, 所以他现在已经72岁了，但是他 yearns for 就是满心向往着回到他在森林里面做一个forest dweller， 就是在森林里面居住的人这样的一种旧的生活。换句话说，他一直没有适应现代文明的生活，所谓现代文明的生活。
You can take the wild child out of the forest, but you can't take the forest out of the wild child. This phrase is a standard phrase in the U.S., saying that you can take somebody out of their original context, but they will keep that original context inside them.
这个句型是一个蛮典型的一个尤其在美式英文里面很典型的这种句型就是说你可以把一个人从哪里拿出来，硬逼着他离开那个地方，但是呢，这个地方在他心里面的影响永远会在那边，永远拿不掉的
Another way to say, a simpler version of this is you can take the girl out of Wisconsin, but you can't take the Wisconsin out of the girl.
例如说你可以 叫一个威斯康星州的小女生还是女孩呢，你可以叫她离开威斯康星州，可是她心里面威斯康星州给她的各种影响，文化的这个所有的这个identity 你是拿不掉的。
We have some questions here for you, and number one is, what is most unusual about the story of Marcos Rodriguez Pantoja as described above?
那我们看到题目说，根据本文所述Marcos 这个故事里面最特别的一点是什么呢？
And the answer is C. It is a true story, not a legend or work of fiction.
答案是 C 它是一个真实的故事，而不是传说或者是虚构小说。
Number two, what does Pantoja's story have in common with that of Romulus and Remus?
那这个 Marcos 他的故事跟这个Romulus 跟 Remus 他们的故事有什么共通的地方呢？
And the answer is A, early abandonment, or this is the answer that best fits. Like, of the ones we could choose, early abandonment is the best answer, but I don't agree with it. I think it should be that they were both raised by wolves, all three of them.
那在这里面呢，最好的一个答案是 A 他们都很早就被弃养的但是其实也许另外一个很好的答案就是他们都是被狼所抚养长大的。
Number three, how did Pantoja survive his early days in the wild?
那他是怎么样在这个早期是如何在野外生存下来的呢？
The answer is D. He ate forest vegetation.
答案是 D 他是吃森林里面的植物。
And number four, according to the reading, what proved most difficult for Pantoja to adapt to after he left his life in the forest?
那根据本文事实证明 Marcos 在离开这个森林生活之后，最难适应的是什么呢？
The answer is B, urban noise.
答案是 B, 城市的噪音。
Well, that is all we have for you today, but please join us again next time for more analytical English. Until then, bye-bye.